Hello everyone, myself Aishwarya Karle. I am studying in KT Patil College of Pharmacy. I am a student of BPharm 3rd year. Today I am going to give a presentation on topic antihypertensive drugs. Let's start from the basic. What is hypertension? Hypertension is a condition in which the force of blood against the artery wall is too high, or we simply say the high pressure exerted by blood on the wall of artery. Let's see what are the causes of hypertension. Hypertension mainly is divided into two main types, that is essential hypertension and secondary hypertension. Essential hypertension is also called as primary hypertension. In this type of hypertension, there is no specific cause, or we can say unknown cause. But in case of secondary hypertension, we know the cause or specific etiology is there. These causes may include genetic factors, psychological stress, environmental and dietary factors, etc. The heredity of essential hypertension is estimated to about 30% in the patient. Next, we will see what is the classification of hypertension on the basis of blood pressure. There are 5 categories, that is normal hypertension, pre-hypertension, hypertension, stage 1 hypertension and stage 2 hypertension. These 4 categories are created on the basis of different ranges of blood pressure. Let's see what are the components to maintain the blood pressure. Movement to movement regulation of cardiac output and peripheral vascular resistance exerted at 3 autonomic sites, that is arterioles, postcapillary venules and heart. Next component is kidney. Next is baroreflexes or baroreceptor. These are mediated by the autonomic nervous system in combination with hormonal mechanisms, humoral mechanism, including the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system. Next is the local release of vasoactive substances. Next we will see what is the classification of antihypertensive drugs. Antihypertensive drugs is divided into different classes. Let's see first. First is diuretics. There are 3 classes of diuretics that used as an antihypertensive drugs. First is thiazides, next is high ceiling diuretics, next is potassium sparing diuretics. Next class is ACE inhibitors. Full form of this name is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Next class is angiotensin receptor blockers. Next is renin inhibitor. Next is beta adrenergic blockers. Next class is calcium channel blockers, beta plus alpha adrenergic blockers, central sympatholytics, vasodilators. Vasodilators again are 2 types of vasodilators acting on arteries and vasodilators acting on arteries plus veins. And others can include the adrenergic neuron blockers and ganglion blockers. Now we will see what are the sites of classes of antihypertensive drugs. Centrally acting drugs such as pithyldopa, clonidine act on vasomotor center. Vasodilators, mainly minoxidil, act on vascular smooth muscle. Thiazide act on kidney tubules. Beta receptor blockers act on beta receptor of heart. ACE inhibitors act on angiotensin converting enzyme. Direct renin inhibitors act on enzyme renin. Reserpine drug act on sympathetic nerve terminals. In next slide we will see all classes of antihypertensive drugs in brief. First is thiazide diuretics. This class includes the examples such as hydrochlorothiazide and chlorthalidone. These drugs initially decreases the blood pressure by increasing the sodium and water excretion. There are some other or side effects which can induce by use of thiazide, such as hypokalemia, hyperuricemia, and in some cases hyperglycemia. Next class is diuretics. Diuretics act by promptly blocking the sodium and chloride reabsorption in kidneys, even in patients with poor renal functions or those who have not responded to the thiazide diuretics. Loop diuretic cause decreased renal vascular resistance and increased renal blood flow. Next is potassium sparing diuretics. Potassium sparing diuretics either act by competing with aldosterone or directly block the epithelial sodium channel. These diuretics act on the collecting tubule of nephron and reduces the risk of hypokalemia. Next class is ACE inhibitors. Firstly, we will see what is ACE. ACE is angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensin converting enzyme is an enzyme which converts the angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. We are blocking this enzyme by using angiotensin inhibitors to reduce the hypertension. Let's see angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors in brief. These are the drugs used as a first-line treatment for hypertension in patients with variety of compelling indications including high coronary disease risk or history of diabetes, stroke, heart failure, myocardial infarction or chronic kidney disease. ACE inhibitors are also responsible for the breakdown of bradykinin. What is bradykinin? Bradykinin is the peptide that increases the production of nitric oxide and prostacyclin by blood vessels. Both nitric oxide and prostacyclin are potent vasodilators. ACE inhibitor decreases the angiotensin 2 as ACE inhibitors are preventing the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, resulting in the decrease in angiotensin 2 and increase in the level of bradykinin. Vasodilation is a result of decreased vasoconstriction from diminished level of angiotensin 2 and enhanced vasodilation from increased bradykinin levels. By reducing circulating angiotensin 2 levels, ACE inhibitors also decrease the secretion of aldosterone, resulting in decreased sodium and water retention. ACE inhibitors also reduce both cardiac preload and afterload, thereby decreasing the cardiac work. There are some advantages of ACE inhibitors. The first is free of postural hypotension, electrolyte disturbances, feeling of weakness and CNS effect. Second is safely in asthmatics, diabetics and peripheral vascular disease patients. Long-term ACE inhibitor therapy has a potential to reduce incidence of type 2 diabetics in high-risk subjects. And fourth is no rebound hypertension on its withdrawal. These are some advantages of ACE inhibitors. Next we will see the angiotensin antagonist, or another name is angiotensin receptor blockers. This class includes examples such as losartan, valsartan, telmisartan, olmesartan, irbesartan. The pharmacological effect of ARBs are similar to ACE inhibitors. ARBs produce arterial and venous dilation and block the aldosterone secretion, thus lowering blood pressure and decreasing salt and water retention. ARBs do not increase the bradykinin level. ARBs may be used as a first-line agents for the treatment of hypertension, especially in patients with compelling indications of diabetics, heart failure, or chronic kidney disease. Next class is direct renin inhibitor. Firstly, we will see what is renin. Renin is an enzyme which is secreted by the juxtaglomerular cells of kidney. This enzyme is responsible for conversion of angiotensinogens into angiotensin 1. In this class, direct renin inhibitor include the drugs such as aliskiren, who directly inhibit the renin and thereby preventing the conversion of angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Aliskiren directly inhibits the renin and thus acts earlier in the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system than ACE inhibitors or ARBs. It lowers the blood pressure about effectively as ARBs, ACE inhibitors and thiazides. Aliskiren should not be routinely combined with ACE inhibitor or ARAs. There are some causes of aliskiren such as diarrhea, especially at higher doses. It also causes the cough and angioedema. Aliskiren is contraindicated during pregnancy. Next class is beta-adrenergic blockers. Beta-adrenergic blockers are mild antihypertensives and do not significantly lower the BP in normotensives, but these beta-adrenergic blockers are preferred in stage 1 hypertension, about 30 to 40% of patients, and these adrenergic blockers are used alone. Beta-adrenergic blockers again divided into two types, that is non-selective beta blockers and selective beta blockers. In non-selective beta blockers, propranolol is an example, and we will see what is propranolol here. Propranolol is a first beta blocker showed effective in hypertension and ischemic heart disease. Propranolol has now been largely replaced by cardioselective beta blockers such as metoprolol and atenolol. All beta adrenoreceptor blocking agents are useful for lowering blood pressure in mild to moderate hypertension. In severe hypertension, beta blockers are especially useful in preventing the reflux tachycardia that often result from treatment with direct vasodilator. Other beta blockers such as beta-1 selective blockers, for example betaxolol, bisoprolol, pindolol, acebutol, phenobutalol, are partial agonists, that is beta blockers with some intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. These drugs are particularly beneficial for patients with bradyarrhythmias or peripheral vascular resistance disease. Esmolol is a beta-1 selective blocker. It is rapidly metabolized via hydrolysis by red blood cell esterases. Esmolol is used for management of intraoperative and postoperative hypertension and sometimes for hypertensive emergencies, particularly when hypertension is associated with tachycardia or when there is concern about toxicity such as aggravation of severe heart failure. Next class is alpha-adrenergic blockers. Prazosin, terazosin and doxazosin are the example of these classes. Prazosin is a prototype alpha-adrenergic blocking agent. Terazosin and doxazosin are long-acting conjugates of prazosin. Alpha blockers reduce arterial pressure by dilating both resistance and capacitance vessels. There are some other alpha adenoreceptor blocking agents, for example phentolamine. It is a reversible non-selective alpha adrenergic antagonist, and second is a phenoxybenzamine. It is non-selective irreversible beta blocker. These are both useful in diagnosis and treatment of pheochromocytoma. Next class is centrally acting adrenergic drugs. Centrally acting adrenergic drugs includes the examples such as clonidine, methyl-dopa. Let's see what is clonidine. Clonidine acts centrally as an alpha-2 antagonist to produce inhibition of sympathetic vasomotor centers, decreasing sympathetic outflow to the periphery. This leads to reduced total peripheral resistance and decreased blood pressure. At present, it is occasionally used in the combination with diuretic. Next is methyl-dopa. Methyl-dopa is alpha-2 agonist that is converted to methyl non-epinephrine centrally to diminish adrenergic outflow from CNS. It is mainly used for management of hypertension in pregnancy where it has a record of safety. Next class is vasodilators. Vasodilators include the examples such as hydralazine, dihydrolazine and minoxidil, but these are not used as primary drugs to treat hypertension. These drugs act by producing relaxation of vascular smooth muscle primarily in arteries and arterioles. This results in decreased peripheral resistance. Both agents produce reflex stimulation of the heart resulting in the competing reflexes of increased myocardial contractility, heart rate, and oxygen consumption. Hydralazine is an accepted medication for controlling blood pressure in the pregnancy during hypertension. This drug is used topically to treat a male pattern baldness. Now we will see what is the treatment of hypertension. According to WHO and British Hypertension Society, it is stated that the treatment of hypertension should be started with the single most appropriate drug except for stage 2 hypertension. There is a rule, that is ABCD rule. ABCD rule stated that A for AC inhibitor and ARB, B for beta blocker, C for calcium channel blocker, D for diuretic. While A and B are preferred in younger patients, that is age below 55 years old. C and D are preferred in older patients, that is age greater than 55 years old, for step 1 or monotherapy. Initially, we have to start the therapy with low dose and increase the dose if needed. On continuing therapy, if we are getting the partial response, then add a drug from another complementary class or change to low dose combination. If we are getting no response, then change to a drug from another class or low dose combination from other classes. In case of side effects to the initially chosen drugs, either substitute with a drug of another class or reduce the dose. Majority of stage 2 hypertensives are started on a 2-drug combination. Next we will see what are the combination of drugs should be avoided. The combination of alpha-beta adrenergic blocker with clonidine should be avoided because it can cause apparent antagonism of clonidine. The combination of hydralazine with dihydropyridine or prazosin is also avoided because it may give a hemodynamic action. Combination of verapamil or diltiazem with a beta blocker should be avoided because it gives effects such as bradycardia or AV block. The drugs from same classes should be avoided such as methyl dopa with clonidine. Next we will see the last part of my video or slide. It is antihypertensive drugs and pregnancy. Here firstly we will see what are the antihypertensive drugs to be avoided during pregnancy. First class is ACE inhibitors and ARBs. This should be avoided during pregnancy because it may cause a risk of fetal damage or growth retardation. Diuretics also should be avoided during pregnancy because it increases the risk of fetal wastage, placental infarcts, miscarriage, and stillbirths. Non-selective beta blockers also give some causes such as low birth weight, decreased placental size, neonatal bradycardia, and hypoglycemia. Sodium nitroprusside also avoided during pregnancy. Then what are the drugs which are safer during pregnancy? Let's see. Hydralazine and methyl dopa are mostly safer during pregnancy and preferred during pregnancy. Next class is dihydropyridine or calcium channel blockers are used as safer during pregnancy, but during use of these classes of drugs we should take a caution, that is we should discontinue this drug before labor because it weakens the uterine contractions. Next class of drugs should be used are cardioselective beta blockers. Examples are atenolol, metoprolol, pindolol, acibutol. Next is the prazosin and clonidine are also used as in safer during pregnancy. This is my last part of my video. Thank you for listening me patiently. Thank you so much.